And it is a great reminder to us that even though we don't necessarily feel God with us, that He is with us, and there is nowhere on the earth that we can go that His Spirit is not there already. And He goes before us, He goes behind us. That same psalm says that He knows every thought that's in our head. He knows every word that's going to come off of our lips before we even say it, and that He is there and making provision for us. I want you to be encouraged today and dwell on those things. Psalm 139 is a wonderful psalm, a great psalm for you to enjoy. And I just want you to know that there is nowhere that you can go that is outside of God's realm of Him being intimate and close and being there with you, whether you feel like it or not. And I think that's probably the issue sometimes, that when we actually feel like God seems to be far away, it's not that God has moved. It's not that we have done anything particularly wrong that stops us from seeing and knowing God, but it's more likely to be that our inner being, our soul, just does not feel God and His presence, and yet He promises to be there. We were reminded that the problem can sometimes be one of three things. One is there could be a sort of physical need, a physical cause of that feeling, in which case we need to get that rest and get that physical thing dealt with. It could be that there is unforgiveness for sin that we haven't confessed yet, but it's more likely to be that we haven't cultivated that relationship with God Himself. I'm married to Anne, as you know, and if I were simply to say, well, I'm married and therefore, all is well, but if I'd never seen Anne since the day that we got married, you would say, well, that's not a marriage, it's not a relationship. I cultivate and choose to cultivate that relationship on a daily basis, and therefore I feel married as well as know that I'm legally and technically married. And it's the same in a relationship with God, that we need to cultivate that relationship on a day-by-day basis. So if God seems far away, I want you to know that whether you feel like it or not, and whether it seems like it or not, God is actually very near. It says in Acts 17 that He is not far from each of us. For in Him we live and move and exist, even as some of your own poets have said, for we are also His offspring. Isn't that wonderful, that in Him we live and move and have our being? And be encouraged by that today and cultivate that thought. Amen.